in 2023, everyone was making memes of who is the strongest soldier. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to actually calculate the data. Let's see who actually is the strongest soldier per Pokemon. It is a very common item, but I don't think people recognize how common that in, I believe, every single regional, it is first in usage. One of the most popular features was say, hey, I want to get this information from a Pokemon across multiple tournaments, which is one thing that I found really unique that no one else was doing. The diversity in Regulation F has allowed these larger tournaments to just have lots of very unexpected Pokemon making it into the top 8. And I like to see things that just shake up the meta and just go beyond anyone's expectations.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Skill Link podcast, where we chat and get to know passionate content creators, competitive players, and all voices who continue to make the Pokemon community incredible. Today's guest works hard creating and running the LabMaus VGC analysis site. He is dedicated to making sure competitive players have a more comprehensive understanding of not only what options they have, but also to what to prepare against. This comes from the latest trends and info provided by not just official tournaments, but also grassroots events from the community. It's our friend, Tim. How's it going, my man?
Yeah, it's going pretty well. How about yourself?
We're doing really good. I just gotta say, I was kind of scrolling through Twitter, as we've kind of been getting to know more people and things like that. We're kind of keeping an eye out for people that are fun that we think would be fun to kind of bring on, unique angles and things like that, because there's just so many people in the Pokemon community who do cool things. And I came across your site, and I was blown away, honestly, with the amount of effort that you've put into it and just the fun. Like I really like Mousehold, and so I think your mascot for the site is phenomenal. I just love you're the Mad Mouse of the Pokemon VGC world, getting that data, and so I just gotta give you a shout out for the work you do and just how you presented and marketed yourself. I think it's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, I struggled a long time trying to come up with a good, proper, pun name that incorporated a Pokemon somehow, and LabMaus just really stuck for a long time in the early development. I was kind of sticking with Stakataka and going with the pun Brackataka.
Oh, that's good too. I like that too. Yeah. Nice.
Okay, that's copyrighted. No one can take that. No one can take that. It's bad.
That's good. I love the Ultra Beast love. But no, I mean Logan's right. I mean, he came across you and then he shot it over to me, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I love this kind of thing. I'm also love following like sports and stuff like that. So I already love like the nerdy stat stuff and the analytics, and then that also transfers over to my love for Pokemon. Spending time on like the damage calculator and just like watching people and seeing what they're using and stuff like that. So then I'm like, dude, I could spend all day like looking at this kind of thing, looking at the graphs or whatever. But we'll get into the nitty gritty of your content and your site here in a little bit. But before we hop into that, we want to get to know you a little bit and have our listeners get to know you as well. So I was curious, we were kind of chatting before what you do for work, but outside of that, outside of Pokemon, what are some things that you kind of enjoy to do in your free time?
Oh, free time is
when you have free time.
Everything nerdy you can think of. Dungeons and Dragons, board games, video games.
I love it.
Just, yeah,
I love it.
All the classic stuff.
What's your character, dude, in D&D?
Oh, at the moment I have a Warforged Artificer.
Ooh,
okay.
Yeah,
I love it.
One that just has been around for a while and likes to tinker on his own body.
I love that. That's amazing.
That's great.
I have one. We haven't played for a little while now, but my siblings and I had a game going. Our siblings and our wives and stuff like that. We had a game going where I was a Minotaur cleric who was adopted by dwarfs as a child. So his name is Laurencio. He goes by Larry. And then Josh,
I love it, dude. It's cool. So I mean, aside from Pokemon, Logan and I have been friends for a while now, and so Pokemon is one of the things we bonded over, but also D&D. So we worked together at a suit shop a while back, and he got all the guys there at the time, all the staff to try out D&D. This is several years back, but he got us all into it, and then since then, on and off, we've been doing campaigns, and Logan's our DM, and it's all I love it. So right now we're doing a little a Star Wars inspired campaign that's been going good in a nice alternate universe, and it's fun, dude. I love
It's
it.
a good time.
So you say
Right.
that, and I'm like, man, we're gonna vibe well. We got a lot in common. So all the nerdy stuff, all the nerdy stuff.
I love it. I love it. So, kind of get more into your Pokemon journey as well. So, how did you get started in like how did you get into Pokemon? And then kind of talk about to us more about your VGC background. How did you kind of get into that side of things as well? As with that.
Oh man, if we're talking how I started getting into Pokemon, that goes all the way back to Gen 1 when it first
Oh
started.
yeah.
Just with only with the cards. I only actually got into the video games in the fourth gen.
Okay.
And so Pokemon Diamond is when I really started actually getting into the games and just kind of stuck to a single player for the most part up until I dabbled a little bit in team building back in Gen 7, just kind of
Okay.
experimenting and coming up with some crazy things. And then Gen 8 is when I actually started dabbling a bit more in VGC and doubles and actually playing in some draft league stuff. And then in that kind of festered into some early stage ideas for LabMaus,
Yep.
which was, and then eventually Gen 9 came around, and the ideas I had for the concept for LabMaus was almost basically theoretical in Gen 8 because we didn't have open team sheets.
Right.
And so
Mm-hmm.
there had been a couple tournaments where I was actually a mod for another Pokemon Discord that we had run a few tournaments, and I had tried to do some analysis stuff just on my own with a few just small scripts and just printing out like text files with this data. And it was so hard because it wasn't open team sheet, and so you had to go to each person. It's like, can you actually share this team? And like a majority of people didn't want to share what they were using.
Right.
Yeah. So
Uh,
yeah, Gen 9 with open team sheets was definitely what turned the tides that made this a lot more feasible.
that's awesome. I got to ask before we get deeper into the LabMaus stuff. So, when you was it collecting Pokemon cards at the beginning? That's like when you got it. Was it just collecting, or did you actually like play the TCG as well? Just curious.
Oh, it was just collecting. It was I actually grew up in a very one of the extreme religious households where they're like, oh, we don't like these cards because like these creatures using magical abilities is not very is
Right.
not very Christian, and so I collected them for a bit and then had to get rid of them. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I've
Yeah.
heard that one before.
Mhm.
That's funny.
There's
Oh,
the video. I keep seeing the video pop up every now and again of that. I don't know if you guys have seen it, where it's that preacher guy and he's talking about how
yeah.
Mewtwo will take over the minds of children and all that stuff.
Doesn't he say something like he like holds up a picture of Pikachu and he's like, cute, right? Not so cute after all. And then he's like, you can do this and it can do that. And I'm like, they're just pixels on a screen. It's okay. You'll be fine. So
Yeah.
I was the eldest child, so it was always the
yeah, same here.
experimental stuff with me. It's when I actually hit 18 and they finally let me play like first-person shooter games. It's like, oh, then as soon as I turn 18, all my younger siblings can play them as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
And
The
same thing
guinea
Yeah.
with
pig.
yeah.
I know how
So
that goes.
The
Um,
Trailblazer.
the
mhm.
trailblazer. Yep, you're the pioneer. Yeah, so more about the lab mouse and everything. So talk to us about how this idea started for it. You had the Discord bot and how it eventually became the website itself. And then tell us more, yeah, about we kind of talked about the inspiration behind your mascot. That the pun is amazing. It's perfect. You got the logo with them in the lab coats. It's actually pretty cute. Like I think it's fantastic. But yeah, tell us more about the journey of how it came from like the idea of it in your head to Discord bot now to full fledged site with all these tools and filters and data and stuff like that.
Oh, so this started before even the Discord bot. The initial kind of stages with this, as I said, I was still am a Discord mod for another Discord, and back in Gen 8, we tried doing a cross Discord tournament where we had tournament across three different Discord groups. I think Pokesports was another one,
Wow.
Wow.
That's
and
super cool. Yeah.
yeah, so we had a good amount of people that were competing in that, and then I was trying to gather as much data from all the different teams, and then I just had printed all of that into text files and just tried to data dump and say, hey, here's all this information for everyone. Do with it what you will. And so I'd kind of done that for a few of the tournaments, and then that just kind of it was nice, but then it just kind of died out and lost interest, and there was a long time gap between Gen 8 and Gen 9 where people just kind of lost interest. And then Gen 9 came around, and I was able to. I initially wanted to make a website, but I have zero front end development experience. I've been
Okay.
strictly back end, and so trying to experiment with making a website was a little overwhelming, and it was like I'm in over my head. So I was like, I'm just going to make the Discord bots, and then for a while that was enough. It was the main goal for it was, hey, I'm not just going to report on official tournaments. I want this to be accessible for uh, other Discord groups like Pokebros and Tommy Tuesday and all these different Discord groups, including the smaller ones that don't normally have this kind of information accessible to them. I want them to be able to use this Discord bot to say, hey, here's the limitless URL, calculate the information, and just get these stats.
Yeah.
And so that was enough for the longest time. And then I kind of dabbled with a website because mainly the biggest downside of the Discord bot was that I didn't have a database to store the information. And so the one of the most popular features was say, hey, I want to get this information from a Pokemon across multiple tournaments, which is one thing that I found really unique that no one else was doing, so that you could actually see these trends going from, hey, this Pokemon, like say Landorus Terrian has really dropped off in tournaments recently.
Yeah.
I don't think there was in the tournaments I just finished, Knoxville and Melbourne, I don't think there was a single Landorus Terrian in day 2.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah,
Like,
so using this information on...
Oh, that's crazy. Lander T is just so popular. So that's crazy to me that that's not there.
Yeah, it's completely dropped off. But yeah, using this information, you could look back through tournaments and be able to see the trend and see it on the downward trend. So people could say, hey, I don't need to prepare for this, or hey, Goldango's on the rise again. So I can see this upward trend, and now I need to make sure that my team has a counter for it. And it needs to be able to look through multiple tournaments, which I didn't have a proper database for. And so how I was doing it was I would say, hey, I'm going to run this data myself and then upload it into a paste bin file. And then it would have to open up those paste bins and just do it. And I would have to selectively try to get all tournaments with like more than 80 players. But it was just a huge hassle and a lot of work. And so that was the two main things that inspired making the actual website itself was that manual process, which was a huge headache that I would not be able to keep up long term, and also the Discord or the bot hit over 100 servers, which was fantastic. But then there was some issues with how it was doing the requests, or how it could actually receive requests from users. That it was the very specific way I was doing it. They said, hey, you need special permissions to be able to make, or in order to use this. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. And so I put in a request and they denied it, saying, hey, your use case isn't specific enough.
Yeah,
and so I was like, well, I've already been tinkering around with the site for like a little while. I'm just going to say the bot is down for 2 or 3 weeks while I just go into overdrive on getting this done.
Right.
Are you telling me that the Discord bot evolved into the into the site? It leveled up.
It leveled
Basically,
up.
the site can do everything the Discord bot can do.
And more.
And
That's
more.
awesome.
With the slight exception of the Discord bot, you could also say, hey, I want to get the juniors and seniors results from regionals. I haven't
Oh,
implemented that yet.
that's cool. That's super cool. I think one of the main notes that you mentioned in there too that I think is really phenomenal is that you're also including in not just like the official tournaments, but like the grassroots events that other the community itself is putting on, and you're getting that data, which I think is really awesome. Because and with that cross tournament graph data, I was just checking it out today, just again as I was refreshing myself, and I think it's just amazing that like you can click on a Pokemon, you can
Mhm.
see immediately what it's being used for, but then also um like the major trends of where it's going up and down, what tournaments it was used in, and like and I just like that that's so much fun to be able to kind of see and compare the data to be able to prepare as a player, and I just think it's such a level up for the community itself, like because Pokemon themselves are not necessarily providing all this information. You're able to just give this tool into the hands of the people, and they can take it and run with it, right?
Yeah.
One of my favorite things as well that I think is awesome that you do is you kind of use your Twitter as like almost like a companion summary for the current trends and things like that as well. Like you'll take the information, you'll congratulate the winners and things like that, but you'll also say before a tournament, hey, look out for this, or after a tournament, say, hey, this had like I think in this last your last tweet right here, you were talking about how um uh I saw one where you have the day 2 information already with the distinct Pokemon of Knoxville and Melbourne and stuff like that, which I think is really cool. Is you're able to quickly kind of go through this information and give a quick summary for individuals as well on your Twitter. I was kind of curious, is like, what is your process? Um, to go through this information, and I just got to shout you out for the dedication and passion that you give your users. So I was just kind of curious, like how is it that you kind of go through, and what is it that you're looking for to make sure that you can give your users so they have a quick tidbit to be able to use it for their advantage.
Oh, it's definitely not just posting daily to make sure that I get massive amounts of relevancy and people don't forget about it. No, I usually try to focus on the tournaments that have over 100 players. Tommy
Mhm.
Tuesdays, the Himi Tours, Spear Pillar, uh, occasionally Mouse Tour, and the VGC Trainer School. A lot of those tournaments have over 100, and those ones are really notable for periods in between regionals. That's when usually you don't see as many of the top players there, but even the most recent Spear Pillar Tour, I know that Wolfie was in that one,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a few others. I know uh, I can't pronounce them. Michael de Best,
Mm-hmm.
however you want to pronounce it, he is a very prominent German player,
Mhm.
and so there's a lot of uh, top players that aren't as well. I shouldn't say that. They're not regional winners, but
Mhm.
there's a lot of very notable players like Conkodonk and Pengi
Yep.
that are all kind of competing in these. And so you can kind of see,
Mm-hmm.
hey, they are competing in these. You can see what they're using. Um, and a lot of people are just breaking out. I think it's really fun to say, hey, I love the diversity in Regulation F, and you can see people are breaking. Sorry, let me gather my thoughts.
You're good. You're
uh,
good.
the diversity in Regulation F has allowed these larger tournaments to just have lots of very unexpected Pokemon making it into the top 8.
Mhm.
And I really like reporting on those, saying, hey, why on earth is Corviknight getting first and second in these? Or even in Knoxville, I tweeted, I felt like we were robbed that we didn't get to see more of Len's Corviknight Sandsteam with
Exactly.
Tyranitar
Yeah.
Lycanroc, and
Yeah.
it's so unique, and I like to see things that just shake up the meta and just go beyond anyone's expectations.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's cool to see all that. It kind of leads into another question we had for you. It's because it's interesting to see these trends and what is being used. I'm just kind of still playing around on it. It's cool to see like the team compositions, the move, even the moves that are being used by physical, special, and and status or utility moves, which is awesome. I think it's so funny how um, Ogerpon, Wellspring, and Fluttermane are on almost a third of all teams. Just that two
Oh, it's
Pokemon core is
ridiculous.
on it's, and so it makes me laugh specifically because you get onto the moves, and the most used physical move, of course, is Fake Out. You always see Fake Out all the time. But it's funny because the second most used move out of all physical moves is Ivy Cudgel, and of course that's Ogerpon's signature move. So it's just Ogerpon is so prominent that its signature move is the second most used physical move right now. It just cracks me up seeing that. But
I was looking at that earlier too. I think if you look at the special side, I believe it's Dazzling Gleam
yeah,
and
Dazzling Gleam's
Moonblast
first.
are like
Yep, the fairy
Dazzling
moves.
Gleam,
are the second.
Moonblast, Shadow Ball. It's just all of Fluttermane's
That's
moves.
literally, yeah, exactly. So it's just so funny to see that. I was like, I already know where those who's the culprit on all those moves. But and then you look at the most common Terra types. Naturally, Fairy is going to be common. Even outside of Ogerpon, Wellspring, Terra Water is a really good Terra type, so on and so forth. So, are there any stats that have surprised you specifically? Anything that's low or high usage? Any win rates that are surprising? Items, Terra types that are interesting or fascinating to you personally?
Oh, there is so I'm not sure how many of the regionals you watch, but there was I can't remember which one that one of the casters, their top Pokemon predictions, they had put Assault Fest as one of their choices.
Oh,
And I
really?
feel yeah, just as a joke, instead of like Pokemon, they just chose Assault Fest because they said it deserves recognition. And people do like it is a very common item, but I don't think people recognize how common that in almost, I believe, every single regional, it is first in usage.
That's
Wow,
insane.
Like it is consistently on like 70 to 80% of teams.
that's
That's
insane to me.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Can you
yeah, that
see
makes sense.
on there? Can we see which? I'm sure we can. I still need to look, but
If
can
you
you see
actually
like which?
click on the
Yeah,
Salt
you
Fest,
click on
it
it, you can
breaks it
see.
down.
You got Rillaboom with 29%, and then it drops down to Raging Bolt, then Archulodon, Entei, Incineroar, so on and so forth.
That's so cool. Oh
Yeah, that's
man,
really cool.
I love that because I personally kind of fall in love with Assault Vest more recently. Josh and I do streams on the side, and we do Soul Links, and so we've been in Elite Redux right now, which is a mod hack where they just make it incredibly hard. Really fun game, but I've loved the Assault Vest recently for our challenge runs that we've done, and just kind of seeing really what a difference it can really make. So that's a really cool shout out, and I think it makes a lot of sense to kind of seeing the stats with it as well.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just
That's
a
awesome.
really good item.
Mhm.
And so kind of shifting more now into kind of like the community side of things, you've had an incredible amount of growth in the last couple of months. Congratulations to you there. I was just curious, can you tell us more what it means to you to have this kind of growth, and then also kind of to kind of build a community? Like, what is that like? How does that feel to you, and like maybe even like how it's influenced you as you kind of moving forward in the site and things like that?
I'm still trying to figure out how to process a lot of that. uh,
Yeah.
over over 2023, I don't remember when I actually made the Twitter account, but it was during when I created the Discord bots. So it was around like mid 2023, and so it took about half a year that I got about 1,000 followers. I got that like on I think New Year's Day or like the second,
Wow.
and now it's been just over a month. And let me check what I'm at now at. I'm now at just about 1,700. So I've almost doubled in
Mhm.
growth in
Yeah.
like a month compared to the half the year. And so the growth has been just exponential since really the strongest soldier tweet. I'm not sure if you guys saw that one,
Uh-huh.
but I had the idea of, hey, in 2023, everyone was making memes of who is the strongest soldier, and just everyone had that in their Twitter handles. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to actually calculate the data. Let's see who actually is the strongest soldier per Pokemon.
Yeah.
And it just blew up. People loved that. So
That's so cool.
ever since then, I've been getting messages, people saying, "Hey, people in the Pokemon Showdown forums are talking about LabMaus. I was sitting down at
Mhm.
table and regionals and heard people talking about LabMaus. And even on some of my posts, some people have commented, I can't believe I get to be featured in a LabMaus tweet. I was like, wait, hold on. Since when did I become
Yeah, no, it should be
like,
the other way around, right?
yeah?
That's awesome.
'Cause I had a
Didn't you
couple people.
also?
Hmm?
Oh, you go real quick.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I also had one or a couple times where a couple tournament organizers said, "Hey, we would like to, and we would like it if you could feature us." It's like, what could we do to make some improvements on our tournaments? It's like, I was shouting out these people to promote my site, not to,
Yeah, not the
not
other way
to,
around.
yeah, not
That's
the other way
crazy.
around. So it's like, wait, when did I become popular?
That's so cool.
Didn't you also host a tournament yourself? I saw like a mouse tour or something like that. That was you, right?
So Mouse Tour and LabMouse are not the same, unfortunately.
Oh, never mind.
Okay,
Never
okay.
mind.
But
I got confused
I
with that.
did for their 1 year anniversary. I contributed to their prize pool. So
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
That makes
That's
yeah,
super
sense. That
it
makes
super
was
sense.
cool.
it was the House and Mouse tour.
Okay.
That's awesome. I
That's
love
cool.
that too.
So, talking about like your community growing, obviously, like you said, the growth has been exponential, especially over the last, month or so. If you're a new person learning this site, what tips or tricks do you have for a competitive player or just a casual user of the site to kind of get the most out of the data that you've been able to compile here? What would like as far as what to click, what to kind of play around with, anything like that?
Oh well, I think besides just exploring the site, I think Cloverbills is a pretty good YouTuber that occasionally uses the site. That is a
Okay.
good one to reference. But if you're just exploring the site, there's really three different sections. There's the tournaments for just looking at what has been popular, but I think that's really for showing trends. I think the top teams page is the biggest contributor
Hmm.
that's been a factor to the growth recently. I think that's a great starting point for a lot of people to be able to say, hey, I want to know what are the popular teams and what I need to prepare against. And so you can just go to that page and see, okay, in the last 2 weeks, this team has been getting incredible results. It's not, and those calculations are not just the most used teams, but it's the most used teams that are consistently doing well.
Okay.
Oh wow, that's super super
Yeah.
cool.
So you,
Doesn't it also? Oh no, you go real quick. Sorry, you go.
Yeah, so I have a scoring scheme there that actually says, okay, it gives points per placement, and so then it calculates, okay, the current top team, there was two people that got fifth with it in both Melbourne and Liverpool, so there's 100 points for each of those.
Okay.
That's
Mhm.
awesome. I like that a lot. I was also going to ask because I was playing around with the team with some of that team statistic stuff, and like I was seeing that you can see like the foremost like so like there was a tab that was like 4, 5, and 6 where you can see like the four most common is it like the four most common like out of 6 Pokemon, this is the 4 of that team, and then like you can see like the higher usage rates of like the rest of the team. Is that what I was understanding from that?
Sorry, are you referring to top teams or team composition in a tournament?
It might have been team composition in that tournament.
Okay, so the team compositions per tournament is strictly just popularity.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
That makes
Cool.
sense.
That's awesome. That's what I love about it is that there's just so much depth to like
Yeah.
where you could look to. Like you could go here, you can go there, and there's just like so much information to glean from it. Like I love it. That's awesome.
Sweet.
I have a question for you. Is there anything that you can tease for us about any future updates for the site?
Oh, I've got a lot of stuff. Hold on. I've got a lot of ideas. Some of them a little bit more. A timeline is up in the air just due to
Right.
it being. This is ultimately a side project for me, so it's when I have the free time for it.
Right.
But
Of course.
I think the one of the main things is adding support for multiple languages. Because
Oh,
Ooh,
nice.
okay.
yeah, actually looking at some of the statistics on my site of the top 5 countries using the site. In the top 5, Spain and Japan, and I think Italy's number 6. So it's like, oh,
Oh,
Wow.
interesting.
Spain is number 2, surprisingly. So it's like, oh, there's actually a pretty high demand to be able to have some translations for Spanish.
Spanish, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Um, yeah, I'd like to clean up the front end a bit. The strongest soldiers page or tweet that I made in January that was covering the strongest soldiers of 2023. That is, I'm going to be updating that for Regulation E and Regulation F. So I'm going to be doing that per regulation as well as the end of the year. And so I'm going to be adding a official page for that at some point.
That's super, super fun. I
Yeah,
love that.
it's really just for bragging rights, but it's a fun little thing.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's so
That's
cool.
really, really cool.
Yeah. Aside from that, just kind of back end stuff, cleaning it up, making it look better. Would like to eventually have some merch. I've got some things in the
Yeah.
Okay,
works.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
I'm
get
sure
a
that would
hat or
sell like
like a
hotcakes. Yeah, a
Yeah.
a
T-shirt or
shirt with
something.
the LabMaus. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, what you got to
Oh,
do is you got to get the T-shirt with the pocket over the chest and have the mouse sticking out behind the pocket or
oh
something.
yeah.
I've
That looks like
thought of that. Yep.
I love that. That's so cool. No, it's cool. Yeah, we were excited to ask you about that because it's clear that it's evolved a lot, and it's always fun to hear the ideas that you have kind of up in the pipeline with that because like you said, even though it's a side thing, it's also clearly a passion project as well. You really care about it. It's obvious that a lot goes into it, and that there's a lot of love and care with it's a lot of data, and you do you do a fantastic job. So it's really awesome to dig into that and kind of hear more on what you've done and where things might lead here in 2024. So I'm sure it's going to be a big fun year for you as you get more opportunities. Because like you said, it's not just like, hey, I'm trying to get people to recognize me by mentioning these people. Now these people are reaching out to me and they're like, hey, what we want to ask LabMaus what he thinks about this, and if we so that's awesome.
Yeah, even for Knoxville and Melbourne, I had to tweet it. It's like, sorry, these are going to be inconsistent for a little bit because Arcanine Labs, or sorry, not Arcanine, just Arcanine updated their they updated their site for some optimization performance stuff, and it broke my scripts. And so
Oh no.
I just had to say sorry. The pairings data is going to be a little incorrect for a little while, and then they actually reached out to
Crazy.
me. It's like, hey, do you need this? We can provide the data for you in this old format so that you can update the site.
That's so
That's
cool.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that.
I
Oh
I
man.
think that's probably one of my favorite things about like the community itself and like people running the various sites and things like that is that kind of like how you were saying at the beginning is that you started out like working out with the data with a couple Discord servers and then it like blew up into 100, and then I just think it's so cool that we're all trying to make this game something that can be just always improved, like there's just like more that can be worked on together as a community as we pioneer forward. And so that's just such a fun thing to kind of be a part of, to where you can kind of like, and kind of what Josh was saying too a little bit earlier, where it's a side project but it means something to people, right? It is actually making a difference in the way that they play the game they love. And you're I think you do a really fun job of making it not just kind of like behind the scenes, like where you're just putting up data, but you put out jokes, you put out fun tweets, you put out your congratulations. That's kind of a fun aspect of the site as well, where it's just such a good time to see what the statistics are, but then also be part of the community that's surrounding it as well. So I just got to give you hats off, and I just think that's so cool that what you're building, not just for yourself, but the bridges you're making with other communities as well. So that's super, super cool. We're kind of get into a little bit more of a just kind of a side fun round that we have. This is our rapid fire round, so we're going to give you a couple of questions, and you can kind of shoot off off your hip, you're the top of your head what the answers are. So the first one we have for you is going to be actually Josh is going to take this one.
First one we got for you is what is, in your opinion, the most overrated and underrated Pokemon in the current meta, current regulation?
Oh, that's tough. I you saw in Melbourne or sorry, not Melbourne, Knoxville, that Corviknight got ninth. It is one that I think I'm not sure if it's good enough, but it is definitely underrated at the moment.
Nice.
Mhm.
I love it.
Primarily because it is completely immune to Landorus Incarnates.
Ooh,
Right, yeah,
yeah.
completely walls it. Yeah,
It does. It is definitely not one that you can slap on any team, but I think situationally, if you have the right team, it can be very, very powerful.
totally.
That's super cool.
It's been cool to see some people doing I know there's a lot you can do with it. It's always some variation of whether it's Brave Bird or Iron Head or Iron Defense or Body Press or whatever, but I've even seen some people do like bulk ups or Tailwind or stuff like that. So it's kind of cool to see how the usage of it has moved around. So but I think Corviknight's a great Pokemon in the right situation for sure. So I like that one.
And then most overrated, hmm. You know what? It's a controversial one because I love Farigiraf. It is a great Pokemon.
Uh-oh.
I'm glad that it's finally gotten some regionals, but the
Yeah.
main reason that it's gained so much popularity was due to very early Regulation F. There was so much priority spam that is
Mhm.
the reason it really came in. And now that we're really shifting away from that, I feel like it's definitely going to be decreasing a bit.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see that.
I think that's a good call. Like, and especially because it's bulky, but it doesn't. I don't know if it necessarily has the speed and the power to really be able to play ball unless you're running a trick room set with it and stuff like that to be able to back it up.
Yeah, like Indeedee does top priority, but it also enables size spam, which kind of gives it more relevance aside from just priority. While
Mhm.
Mhm.
Farigiraf is a good support Pokemon that can stop the fake outs and the priority spam,
Yeah.
but I don't think it has quite as high of a utility range.
Right.
Interesting.
That makes
I
sense.
like that. I like that. All right, our next shower thought for you is what is the best item?
I mean, I think we already covered that. It's
Yeah, we
clearly
kind of
it's
did
all
cover that one
best.
already. Yeah. Yeah, that makes
Assault
sense.
vest, it's doing good, doing good. Do you have a favorite one though? I'm just curious. Like aside from assault vest, is there like an item where you're like, this one doesn't get enough love?
Oh, okay. So, if you guys know Passers with Bauerdad, Josh,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, you used that for Pokemon Showdown?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Yep. So I'm in his Discord, and
Oh, no
for
way.
yeah,
Okay.
so he and I are close friends. We've been close friends
Oh, that's
for
sweet.
several years now. But he, for a little while, was doing these weekly little competition team building challenge things. And for one of them, it was, hey, let's use these 6 extremely uncommon items and make a team with it and make it work.
I love
That's
And
that.
nice.
and one of them was Metronome. And Outrage Dragonite with Metronome was so much
Oh,
fun.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see it. I can see the
Yeah.
vision.
I
How
I I I was just gonna say I think the metronome is such a cool item, and like you're saying, like it is definitely underused because I just think the capability, like if there was, and I don't know if this is, it doesn't work with like bullet seed or things like that, right? Like it has
No,
to
it
be.
doesn't.
Oh,
Yeah,
see, that'd be
yeah.
so cool. But like I just think it's such a fun, like it's such a fun item, and it like I think it would be really cool to see that in more play,
Yeah.
100%.
I've seen
The
oh yeah, you go, sorry.
oh, I was just gonna say the other item would be Red Card. Red Card and DD was
Yeah,
really
red's
Mm,
great.
fun.
Red card's great.
Yeah, Chin Pao hits Red Card and DD, and then just swaps out without turning off the terrain.
That's
that's so
good.
cool.
That's great. Yeah. You said Metro, and it reminded me I was watching someone on YouTube, and they were using it was for fun. It was just some random link battle, but they were doing Metronome with extreme speed Terra Normal Dragonite. So
Yep.
just spamming extreme speed with the Terra Normal, and I'm like, oh, it's. And the other guy didn't have any ghosts or any checks for it. I don't think he even had I think he got past the one normal resist or something. But yeah, then he started spamming extreme speed, and by the end it was like base like 160 power or something. It's something ridiculous. So
It's
I
ridiculous
think at Metronome it makes it go. It goes up. I think it's 10% each turn you use it,
each
right?
Each
time.
turn, but I think there is a cap.
Is there? Okay,
I think it's two times if I remember
let's see.
correctly.
Okay.
'Cause-
For each, yeah, it can be used successfully up to a maximum increase of 100%. So that's
Okay,
quite a
so
bit.
yeah,
It's
almost
nutty.
double. Yeah.
So it's 5, yeah. So up to in Gen 4 it was the 10%, and in Gen 5 onward it's 20% buff per turn. So 5
Oh,
times.
Okay.
really? Okay, I thought
Yeah.
it was still 10. Never mind.
So did I. Yeah. I mean, 20% is pretty.
That's
That's like pretty
honestly
sizable, actually.
that's like honestly so worth it because after 2 turns of like something, right? Like I mean, you're basically 1.5. I mean, and just for clicking the button, like it's like that's kind of ridiculous
It's
on
fun.
like the power scale there.
Yeah.
That's
That's
cool.
fun. All right, last rapid fire one we got for you before we move into the next section we have is what's your favorite design of the new DLC Pokemon from whether it's Teal Mask or Indigo Disc?
Ooh, there's a lot of really good Pokemon. Obviously, Mousehold is one of my favorites from this gen.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's just a fun design.
Oh
But
yeah.
aside from Mousehold, I really liked Armarouge and Cerulege designs. I thought they were really unique.
Yep. Oh yeah, they're great. They're great. I
Excellent
think
choice.
the one thing they fumbled the bag on with those two is their shinies, because their shinies are basically the
Yeah,
same color, but I think their eyes change and that's pretty much it. They missed a
yeah.
chance to like swap their color palettes or give them something really
I mean,
cool, but
they swapped eyes, I believe.
yeah, it's just the eyes color.
Yeah.
That's all it is. But I
Mhm.
mean, as far as like everything else, it would be cool to see like a purple and navy Armor Rouge, and then a yellow and red Cerulege or something like that, or something whatever. But I agree. Those Pokemon I think they're fun, really cool Pokemon. So nice. Well, we're gonna hop into our final section, which is our shower thoughts, and these are just kind of the random miscellaneous things that come to our mind over the course of the day because Pokemon consumes our lives, and what else are we gonna think about?
Yep.
So this can be anything. These can be in a VGC context, or they can be really in any sort of Pokemon context. So we got a few for you right here. The first one we have is if you could improve one Pokemon's ability in a balanced way, or give them a new ability, what Pokemon would it be, and what ability would you change or give them?
Oh, I think one of my favorite Pokemon that gets 0 VGC usage is Graplocked.
Oh yeah, dude,
Ooh,
Graplock's
okay.
cool.
I really liked him in Gen 8, but he
Yeah,
has the ability Technician, and he has almost no moves that actually benefit from Technician.
that's a shame.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's a shame.
so I'm not quite sure what the better ability would be, but yeah, he definitely needs some kind of ability change. Or
Yeah,
actual Aqua Jet or Mach Punch,
or just
something
give
that
them
can
moves.
actually
Yeah,
use.
right. Just give them moves that will actually take advantage of that.
Hmm.
Um, that's a good one. Yeah,
Give him
Graplock's a
huge
good
power.
Pokemon.
I could see
Hmm.
huge power could be cool.
There you go.
Yeah, that'd be terrifying.
That would be terrible. You might need to lower its base. You might need to lower its base attack stat if you're going to give it. I think it's almost like
What?
base 120 for its attack stat or something. It hits hard. It's super slow. But yeah, if you gave it
Yeah.
like some low power priority moves, that's a great candidate for that.
Mhm.
So
Mm-hmm.
see, I'm just looking through. At least by level up in Gen 8, the only technician viable move it gets is Rock Smash as a level 1 relearnable move in Bind.
Yeah.
And that's it. So, or Faint.
Right.
For all I'm sure, Faint is such a high move
Okay,
usage.
I
So
love Feint. It's not a great move to use, but
no, it's
situationally
so niche.
it's good
To be
in Draft
fair,
League.
Yeah, where you know
yes,
what to prepare
yes.
for. Yeah,
Mhm.
for
I was
sure.
also going to say,
And
to be fair, according to the LabMaus website, Protect is used like 30% of the time. It's on,
Yep.
like 30% of Pokemon.
Mhm.
there you go. So anyway, everyone listening out there, you got to be running your Faint Graplock sets. So you heard it here first. Awesome.
It's all of a sudden we just see this trend after this episode goes live on the site. Like it's just going up for some reason.
I love it, dude.
All right, the next shower thought we have for you is what does a perfect Pokemon game look like to you?
Ooh. I have to say that, contrary to some casters' opinions, Pokemon Legends Arceus has been the breath of fresh air that I have not had in a Pokemon game in a long, long time. And it
Mhm.
definitely wasn't perfect. It had a few issues, but a more polished version of that would be ideal.
I love
I
that.
agree,
This is
100%.
kind of a branching off of that, but what Pokemon or region would you want to see be the focus for the next Legends game?
Oh, that's a good question. Not Gen 1 or Gen 2. or Gen 3.
Yeah.
Those have already been done.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's just stick to going in order. Let's do Gen 5.
There you go.
Yeah,
I love
That's
it.
awesome.
Gen 5 initially really hated, and then all the Pokemon really grew on me. So I'd love to see,
Mhm.
us go back to that with a
Yeah.
Legends game.
You know, we've actually had Gen 5 come up quite a bit on previous episodes with other guests where people are like, you know, it's a game I would look really fondly on, or, you know, it's a remake I'm really looking forward to, or I replayed it recently and I really enjoyed it, kind of thing. So it's kind of funny to see how it circled back around. And I agree. I think Gen 5 is really, really fun. So I'm assuming we'll be getting some remakes soon. And, you know, if we get another Legends game, if we get like a Legends Kyurem and we can look back at the original Dragon or something like that and then get some fun starter forms, that would be I think it's a good choice. Or Legends Victini, something like that. Legends Meloetta.
Mhm.
So
One of the things that I just think about with Gen 5 is that it really does have just the lore that like it's funny because like there's like that ninja clan that's so unknown. I mean, we could get, you know, interesting aspects on the, like you said, like the true dragon of how that got separated, or even like what would be really cool because like I think in the storyline, if I remember, it mentions like the first trainers of Zekrom and Reshiram, like how
yeah,
they had these ordeals. Like what if like the game took place during their time period? Like that
sweet.
could be so cool.
Yep.
You know, like I just think that it has such an unexplained legend, and I think that could be a lot of fun to explore. So,
For sure.
100% agree with that.
You could absolutely do, by that logic, you could also do the Galar region with going back to the time
The
where
Darkest Day.
the Darkest Day with
Yeah,
the
that's a good
original
one.
story with the dogs.
I'd be down for that. Yeah, go back to even though that game just happened, that'd be fun to do something like that as well. That'd be
I
sweet.
think
Yeah, because I was gonna say, just because you know how we have like the origin form for Dialga and Palkia, we could get some sort of you know, Darkest Day form for Zacian and Zamazenta. I think that'd be
yeah,
pretty sweet actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm in the minority. I honestly I haven't gotten a good pulse on this, but I think the Gen 8 legendaries, the box art legendaries are, I don't know if some people think they're generic just because they're wolves, but I think they're really cool legendaries. So I don't know, maybe because they kind of look like good doggos, and I have two little dogs myself, and I'm kind of sympathetic toward that.
I really like Zamazenta, and then they only gave it body press after the game. Only in Gen
I
9.
know, right?
Come
Yeah.
on.
No, that was a crime. That was a crime.
Yeah.
So
what could
nice.
be what they need to do, so with this, so the Darkest Day game, right, what they need to do is they need to get the creators of Pokemon Coliseum involved in the project as well, so they can make it like a gritty, like a good, just gritty storyline.
A little more mature. Yeah,
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, I just think I think it'd be so fun.
yeah.
Oh, that'd be
I love
super
it.
super cool.
All right, last shower thought we got for you before we wrap up here. Let's say you are the Pokemon champion and you get to decide who your Elite Four is. So who are you choosing from any gym leader, any previous Elite Four members, any Battle Frontier members, any rivals or team heads, whatever? Who's in your Elite Four?
Oh, that's
Or
a
if you want VGC players too, can be
Oh yeah,
involved
or you can
too.
pick some real life, yeah, pick some real life trainers too if you want to throw them in there. But
dude,
you're the
yeah.
champion. You're the champion. So who are your four that protect you and kind of only the very best get to play you at the very end?
Oh, I'm so bad at remembering all the different trainers. Larry. Larry's all I
Yeah,
need.
Larry, yeah,
Absolutely.
Larry gym leader, and then Larry Elite Four. That's all you need. Just clone him, and he gets to have his two teams.
Let's do
Larry's just the Elite Four.
Yeah,
Larry. Let's go with Len Duel just because he had to the Corviknight team that I really respect.
I love it. There
Yeah.
Um, let's see who's been some of the top players recently. Okay, I guess Wolfie. I have to.
you go. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And then one more. Let's see, Liverpool. Yeah, you know what? Antonio Sanchez, he got first. He played his heart out in that regional.
I did.
Boom. There it is. There it is.
I
You heard it
love
here
it.
first.
So we got Larry. We got what was his name again? I can't remember. For who had the Corviknight.
Len.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we got Wolfie and
Antonio.
Antonio Sanchez.
I'm
There
just
you
taking
go.
the most
I love it.
recent winners and
Hey,
notable
there you
people.
go. That's an Elite Four right there. That's good. So
They got some stuff going for them. So
I like it.
I love it. I love it, man. Again, we just want to thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been such a blast to talk to you. Like, honestly, we can't shout you out enough with the work that you're doing here. It's just such a cool thing to see the community itself build this tool out to where players can level up in the next generations to come. Like, what's really cool is that this is still kind of an evolving, competitive scene, and so like people are still trying to figure out a lot of stuff. And so with tools like this, they can really level up and become, and the next generation of players are going to be able to take this and run with it and just become even more amazing than we are. And before we end, though, we just want to give you time. If there's anything you want to kind of shout out, kind of tease for yourself, if there's anything else that you kind of want to, have people take keep an eye out from yourself or from your content or anything like that. And then give us some words of wisdom, whether that be Pokemon, life related. We just love to hear, your kind of final thoughts, final, lines of thinking, and take it away.
Yeah, sure. Well, if anyone wants to help support the site to keep it running and just allow me to actually make some money off of this so that it's not just costing me monthly and I can actually spend more time dedicated towards improving it, so you can check out my Patreon.
Awesome.
And so got a lot of cool things in the works. Merch will, I can't give a definitive, but t-shirts and possibly fake Pokemon cards are in the works.
Nice. I love that.
Yep. And words of wisdom. Confidence is everything, and if you don't feel like you have confidence, fake it until you make it. And that is truer than going through all of my work. It has absolutely been true that if you are at least confident and willing to learn, they care a lot more than, or they will notice you.
I love that.
Love it.
That's perfect.
That's awesome. Thanks again, my friend. We just really, really enjoyed our chat with you. Everybody out there, make sure you follow, you keep up with Tim here on his LabMaus site. Keep up with the amazing stuff and information that he's given out for players, for people who are even just interested in the stats. I love it. I love the community that it's building around. Also, keep up with Josh and I here at SkillLink. We're going to continue to do our Pokemon Elite Redux, Hardcore Soul Link Challenge. We've also got a couple other things coming in the pipeline, so keep an eye out for that. Make sure you also, hit the like button, subscribe, keep up with us. And for now, this is Logan, Josh, and Tim signing off. We'll see you guys later.
See you, everyone.
Take care.